The hidden truth behind Britain's digital ID. Oh, BritCard will simply stop fraud. That's the tired old line they're trotting out on the morning telly, isn't it? As if we're all daft. But if this little scheme is so completely harmless, how come 2 million of us signed a petition against it in under 2 days? Bit of a head scratcher, that. Now, here's a juicy little number that somehow slipped out of the press release. The Home Office's own crystal ball gazers admit this thing will slurp up 200 different bits of data on every single adult. Just so we're clear, that's more than Facebook knows about your questionable holiday photos. So today, let's have a proper look at who really cashes in when your life is downgraded to an app run by the same political geniuses who couldn't organize a knees up in a brewery. Fraud. Bless them. Their big idea, an app on your phone to prove you're allowed to have a job or a roof over your head. One little scan, and poof. All our problems vanish. And you know what? If you squint really, really hard and hold your breath, it almost sounds vaguely sensible. It's a classic bit of misdirection, straight out of the tired playbook of our two glorious, interchangeable parties. But here's the sneaky bit they forget to mention in the glossy brochures. Once all this digital plumbing is in place, adding new reasons to use it is just a software update away. Easy peasy. Today it's for your boss, tomorrow it's to get your prescription from the GP, or maybe even to prove you're old enough to buy a pint down the pub. Don't believe me? Estonia's ID started off all friendly and voluntary, now it's mandatory for prescriptions. Nigeria's was just for voting, and now you can't even open a bank account without it. And our own draft bill. Oh, it's got a lovely little clause tucked away that lets any minister add new mandatory purposes whenever they fancy, no debate required. That's a blatant power grab, and don't for a second think Labour and the Tories aren't both rubbing their hands together. Remember that spectacular failure of an ID card back in 2005? The excuse back then was terrorism. Now it's immigration. But the state's desperate hunger for your data is exactly the same. Fingerprints, face scans, work history, every time you've used the NHS. Leaked documents from the Home Office actually call this database the Golden Master Record. The Golden Master Record. You couldn't make it up. It's a central off switch for your entire life, handed to the very people who comprehensively broke the country in the first place. Think you can just say no? Pull the other one. The government's own projections reckon 94% of us will have this thing within 5 years. Why? Because banks, insurers, and probably even dating apps will start demanding it. Refusing won't be illegal, it'll just be financially and socially suicidal. Fancy getting a mortgage without the app? Sure. Enjoy paying the special, we think you're a bit dodgy, premium. Let's not forget, credit scores were optional once upon a time, too. Lumping all of our most sensitive information into one digital basket isn't just a bad idea, it's a spectacular gift to every hacker from here to Moscow. Estonia's world-class system got knocked offline by Russian bots. Singapore's Health ID helpfully leaked the HIV status of 14,000 people. And let's not even talk about our own government's greatest hits, like the world-beating, completely useless NHS Test and Trace app. If they can't get a simple app right, giving them the master key to all our identities is just begging for a nationwide catastrophe of biblical proportions. First time here, if you fancy hearing the real stories that the mainstream media is far too polite to ever touch, then give that subscribe button a whack and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming. Now for the price. The ministers chirping on about this claim it will save £1.8 billion over a decade. What they tend to mumble under their breath is the setup cost, a cool £3.6 billion of your money. Add in the running costs, and you're looking at about £400 from every single taxpayer. That's more than a passport, driving license, and birth certificate put together. The best part, it expires every 3 years, and you get the privilege of paying for it all over again. What a bargain. And worst of all, this BritCard nonsense creates a two-tier Britain by default. The elderly person who doesn't own a smartphone, the homeless person without a fixed address, or frankly anyone with a tiny paperwork mistake suddenly becomes a digitally invisible, second-class citizen. In the pilot schemes for the right to rent checks, their flawless tech wrongly rejected 1 in 12 legitimate applicants. Now just imagine that level of genius incompetence at a hospital. Sorry, the computer says no to your life-saving treatment today. Do come again. Britain has told the government where to shove a national ID card twice before, all on the simple, old-fashioned grounds of civil liberty. Winston Churchill himself called the whole idea a symbol of totalitarianism. Even Theresa May, of all people, scrapped the last scheme, warning us about the ever-creeping control of the state. And yet, here we are again. Same balmy idea in a shiny new app, being sold to us by the same failed political class. So, what's the answer? Sign a petition. They don't care. This is about sending a very clear message to the broken, two-party system. The only way to stop this dead is at the ballot box. The only party that has promised to kill this digital ID and rip up the whole surveillance state agenda is Reform UK. Your future self, 30 years from now, will thank you for it. So, is BritCard really about stopping a bit of fraud? Or is it about building the perfect prison of a surveillance state that you can never, ever switch off? The Tories dreamed it up, and Labour is all set to deliver it, just two sides of the same socialist coin. It's time to draw a line in the sand. The next time some minister waves that slick little app in your face, just remember the only way to protect your right to exist without asking for permission is with your vote. It's time to teach the Westminster establishment a lesson they will never, ever forget.